Good morning, Leanne. Thanks for having me.
What can you tell us about this listed company case that you use as an example? What's the story all about?
Yeah, well, in this particular case, and I'm going to refrain from mentioning the business by name because I think there may be some litigation pending, but a director is alleged to have bribed a government official to secure some quite lucrative contracts for the company. And when this information came to light, the director was actually arrested. And apparently the board knew about this event, but they sat on the information for a few weeks before going public with it. And of course, as soon as the information came out, because it was a reactionary thing rather than them being proactive, the company lost about 25% of its value.
Wow.
In a couple of days.
Yeah.
So, there was a clear example of how the actions of one director had a massive impact on the reputation of the business and actually the shareholder value.
Well, I mean, that's, I suppose, brings into question where one actually draws the line between a negative business decision and pure corruption. Where is that line?
Well, I think with the example that I just used, obviously it's fairly clear that there is alleged to have been a crime committed, and we all know what the law says, and we should all try and act within its confines. I think for directors, what becomes quite challenging is often they're making decisions, and perhaps there may be some negligence on their part, and the outcome of that decision may cause a loss for the business. And when the business starts losing money, the investors in that business, other stakeholders like employees, may seek to recover those losses from the directors. So it's really, as I said, it's not as much about knowing the difference between what is a crime and what isn't. It's about knowing what your duties are and then being able to carry those out in a way that aren't going to cause financial loss. To other parties.
How does a business actually protect both the company and the individuals involved to protect themselves against litigation?
Well, I mean, I remember when I was growing up and I first started working in a big corporate, everyone aspired to be on the board of directors. It was like a promotion, that was as far as you could go in the company. And these days, of course, it comes with such a lot of responsibility that if you as a director or somebody that's recently joined the board haven't been educated as to what your responsibilities and duties are, chances are you're going to be one of those people that are going to be hauled up in front of some kind of inquiry or a commission and having to explain why you did what you did and caused a loss. So I think education of directors is massively important. And these days, a lot of directors won't actually accept a position on the board of a company without having some kind of directors and officers liability insurance in place, because it's their personal wealth that's at stake if a decision is made that causes a loss.
Yeah.
And sorry, perhaps it's important to underline at this point, when I've had this discussion, particularly with people that are lower down in the company, the reaction is normally, but hang on a second, if you're making these decisions and it's our lives that are being impacted by your decisions, you should be liable for that. And of course, that's absolutely correct. But mistakes do happen, and often the actions of one board member could impact adversely on another. So, it's important they're all educated, and it's important that the entire board is insured, and of course that the company has its own insurance in place. For liability issues.
Simon, thank you. Thank you very much for talking to us. I think it's a vitally important issue that people need to know more and more about, especially when you, like you say, think you're reaching the top of the ladder, which is where you want to get, but these are the risks that you face getting there. Simon Colman is a litigations risk executive from RBS, and he's joining us in our C Point studios. Thank you very, very much for being with us.